And so this video begins, guys. Page 35 of our instruction book, part 21 in our series of the Trumpeter 1/16 scale King Tiger build. Guys, welcome back. 35 consists of a whole lot of shells that need to be cut out, cleaned up, a piece of PE applied to the rear of the ammo shell, and then primed and painted and installed. So we have a lot to do. In the last video, guys, page 34 of the instruction book, video 20 of the build series, we put our ammo racks, we assembled those, painted those, and had those installed into the hull. And now we got the ammo that we're working on, and that's going to complete page 30, or step 35. Not to make it sound like it's an easy thing, we have a whole lot of shells to do. We got 44 of these, we got 8 of those, we got 16 of those. We have a whole lot of shells that we are working on. I have been busy on this the last few days, guys. I'm doing it a little bit at a time, trying to make myself not go crazy. But this is my last sprue of shells. All the other ones, I've already got those cut out, cleaned up. And yeah, this is garbage here. And we got one more to go here. And I've got some of them already cleaned up and painted. And I'll show you those here in a few moments. But yeah, that's basically what we do. We just keep cutting until they fall out of the sprue. And then we will take our file and we go in, and I've just been taking away that little bit of a burr from where it was attached to the sprue, right? Doesn't take much as long as you cut it, you know, as close to the shell as you possibly can. And on these bigger ones like that one there, I just been kind of going through and just kind of nipping it down a little bit, and then it files right out. And I got a new camera, guys. So this is my first video with my new camera, and I hope that it's looking good. We'll figure that out. Okay, guys, progress is being made. I made 44 of these. These are painted in a camo green, and it was out of a rattle can, a Rust-Oleum, and I'm happy with that color there. And we still have the PE to put on the rear end of this thing here, and we need to mask and paint this tip a different color, and then we got the decals to put on. Those are the 44, and these guys here I still got drying. They are a off, what would I call that? They're like an off gold silver color. I didn't actually catch the name on it, but yeah, I kind of just want to break them up a little bit. These pieces of PE for the back end of these guys, I'm thinking I'm going to make those a different color just to give these shells a little bit more detail. I'm thinking about going with a flat black on that, and then gluing them to the rear side of these shells with some CA. And I think they'll make them pop just a little bit better. I was going to paint them all the same color, but I thought I'd go the extra step just to try to give them, like I said, just a little bit more detail. So, okay, I'm going to leave it at here. Let me go ahead. I got a lot of masking to do on this and painting, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look what that looks like. And then hopefully we can move on into the turret. This is going to complete the whole end of the build. I like to think we're at the halfway point at this point. The box is certainly feeling lighter. That big old heavy box that it all came in, it's lightening up. So that does mean we're making progress, right? So anyways, guys, let me go ahead. I want to get these masked up. I want to get this PE painted and installed onto the shells, and we got some, we'll come back, we'll do some of the decal work together, and then we'll go ahead and get these installed into the hull, and then we'll call this step complete. So we'll be right back. Alright, I'm going to be using the Tamiya 3mm masking tape to mask off the tip from the shell. And we'll see how that works out. We got a whole bunch of these to do too. There we go. There we go. Alright, one down, 44 more to go. There we go. Alright, I'll continue doing that and we'll be back. Alright, down to my last two out of the 44. And I still got more to make. These are all just the ones that are in the camo green. And we're just masking right along that bottom lip right there. And then we'll put a bigger mask over the rest of the shell to catch the overspray. And we got one more. Once again, guys, this is Tamiya masking tape to 3mm. It goes around the small curves easy. Makes it easy to wrap around these little guys. These shells are so monotonous. Every step just seems like it goes on forever. But we're kind of like doing an assembly line. We're just doing like one thing at a time till we get them all done, right? All right, there we go, guys. So here we are. All 44 of these masked and ready to spray our tips. And I got some more shells here that I need to paint, along with some extra track. And then of course we got the ones that we just painted here, and I got to still mask those, but this is still drying. So let's go ahead and get these guys out for paint. We can come back for the other ones later. We'll be right back. Alright guys, just wrapping these up in the blue painter's tape to mask off our body of our shell here. And then our tips should be ready for painting after this step here. There we go. And these are again probably something that won't even be seen after we complete the kit and it all gets closed up and we spend all this time on this detail. There we go. And we'll just keep on going. Alright, I think we're just about ready to start painting. Once again, recap, I used the 3mm Tamiya tape to give us a distinctive line around the head, or the bullet of the shell. And we're using this blue painter's tape just to protect the body from any overspray. And there we go. There we go. Look at all that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get these out. We'll get them painted and we'll remove the tape and see what we got. Alright guys, cool. Got the 44 of them painted, and let's remove some of the masking and see how we did. Hopefully we didn't deal with a whole lot of bleed through. And then we got the other one still to go. Oops. Get this little piece copy here. There we go. Did get a little bit of bleed through right there, but I can fix that. That ain't no biggie. We'll do one more here, and then the rest I'll take off camera. There it goes. The other ones I'm going to paint the tips a little bit different color. I went with a blue on this one here, and then I did some of them in black. And the different shells, I'm assuming, are going to have different colors, right? So, okay, here we go. Let's see how we did on this one. There it is. Yeah, good. I'm happy with that. Nice sharp line. Alright guys, the rest of these I will take off camera. I just want to give you a peek, and yeah, I got plenty more to go. I'll see you guys back here in a few. Alright guys, this is the back side of our ammo. Those are going to be getting glued on the back part of these shells. And I thought I'd break it up a little bit. I think I'm going to go with flat black on these, just to give it a little bit more depth of color. I was going to include it as the same color as the shell itself and just continue it around. But I thought we would give it a little bit of something more to the eye to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot these in a flat black, and then we can go ahead and glue those onto the shell. So let me take these out and get these painted, and we'll be back. Alright guys, I got some of this Vallejo aluminum, and let's do the tips of some of these shells here, just to give it a little bit more excitement. They look kind of dull, just all plain blue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to attempt to just kind of dip them in. Let's see how that works out for us. Let's start off with one of the blue ones here. We got blue and black that we did the tips on. What I'm going to do is just set it in there and give it a twist so it's even all the way around. Yeah, I like that. That looks like it came out okay. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's do another one here. We got a lot of those to do. But I mean, they look nice and even all the way around, so for that part it's working. And it really doesn't need to be perfect because they're going to be inside those racks, and only a certain amount of these shells are going to be visible. There we go. All right, I'll keep working on these, and we'll be back shortly. All right, now I did some of these ammo shells in black, So I think we will put a flat yellow tip on these just to break them up from the other ones a little bit. We'll use the same technique. We're just going to dip it in like we did the other ones. That seemed to work quite well. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, that worked. All right, cool. I'm going to do all the other ones with the black tips. I got probably 8 or 10 of those that I've done with the black tips, and then we have the blue tips, the ones we just did the silver tips on. Yeah, that yellow looks pretty sharp on that black, doesn't it? All right. Very cool. Let's get us another one here. Let's try it again. Trying to get them to go straight in so that it's somewhat of an even circle around that tip. And like I said, even if it's not a big deal. They're going to be glued in a certain way, and you won't be able to see all the way around it. So even if it's uneven, it really wouldn't matter. But that's a nice, easy way to do it, and it works well. I'm just afraid of going too heavy and then turning it upside down and then it running. But I don't see that happening so far in these other ones that we made. All right, guys, we have been busy. I have been seeing these things in my sleep. We still got a bunch more of these to go yet, guys. I got all these in a camo green, and I did change the tops just to break it up a little bit. I got some blue and the silver tips. You've seen where I dipped it into the silver. And over here on these, it was a black, and I dipped the yellow, and then I dipped a little bit of the silver on the tip of those, just to give them a little bit of character. And these here, I got these sprayed in a light copper color. And I still have to paint the tips on these. I have not got to that yet, but I'm getting ready to do it right now. We're going to mask out the top part of the bullet here, and I'm thinking about spraying those a yellow and then put a black tip on those, right? And that'll kind of break everything up. And then we have our back end of, which is the PE, the firing mechanism of our shells. And I sprayed all of those into a flat black. And you can kind of still see the words that are on it, so I think that came out kind of cool. I'm not sure if they should be the same color as the shell, and maybe they should be, but they are separate from the shell, and I took the opportunity to break it up a little bit and just paint these a little bit differently. So these are all in a flat black, but you can still see the lettering on these, and they're in a gold. So it's kind of cool. They did it naturally. I just sprayed it. But it somehow didn't get into those areas. They were recessed into the PE. So yeah, there we go. And there's the other side of it. So this will be the side facing out. All right, so let me go ahead, guys. I'm going to get this masked up. Let's go ahead and get these finished. And we'll put the PE on all of these. And then let's install them into that hull. And let's call this thing done. Well, at least this part anyway. We can move forwards. I think from here we're going into the turret itself, so that should be exciting. I feel, like I said earlier, we are probably at about the halfway point in this build. And it has been a challenging build for sure. And each time I turn the page, it's a new challenge and a new adventure. And I appreciate you guys following along with me on it. So, all right, guys, let me go ahead. I'm going to get these masked up and get these guys painted, and we'll move forward from there. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, and moving on to the PE part of our shells that we are in the process of constructing. I got these already cut out from this sprue here. And let me back out just a little bit so we can get a better idea of what we're doing here. And the cool thing about these, this PE on these sheets here, if they give you plenty of room around each one of these pieces of PE for the bottom of our shells, and we're able to get in there with some scissors. I don't like to use the X-Acto blade because it tends to go dull quick when you're cutting on the PE. And it is thick PE, this right here, guys. It's not the thin stuff, it's the thick stuff. And after a certain point, it starts bending the PE and not cutting it. So it's nice I'm able to get in here with these little scissors and just snip away at them, just like that. Look at that. And it does leave a little bit of a nub, but we can clean these up prior to installing them onto the shells. And another cool thing I think is really cool is you can still see the writing on the shells even after I sprayed that with the flat black. I do not know how I did that. It wasn't intentional. I just sprayed it with the flat black and it came out that way. For some reason, the flat black did not go into the recessed areas of the PE. So the writing is still in gold. Look at that. Or not in gold, in the brass, I should say. Couldn't find the right word. But you won't see those anyway because they're going to be laying on their side. But I just thought that was kind of cool. Isn't that cool? And like I said, it wasn't intentional. It did it on its own. I just sprayed them, and then after it dried, I looked at them. I'm like, hey, the words are still there. So anyways, guys, we got this. I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting these out off camera. Then we're going to bring those shells out. We're going to get these installed onto the shells. And then all we have left to do, guys, is we have some decals that we need to apply. And not every shell is going to get one. They don't supply enough decals for every one of the shells. But that's not really that important, simply because not all the shells are going to have the labels facing up, right? The soldiers, when they load those things in there, however they land in there is how they land. So some of those labels will be underneath, right? Not visible on every single one. So we'll go with that story there. But we do have quite a few here. We can, have a few laying on their sides and stuff where they're visible. We won't have them all lined up straight, straight line. We have them in there randomly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So then we can do that. Then we can get them into those racks that we already have installed on our King Tiger hull. And then we can call this episode done with all these shells and everything, and we can move forwards from there. I think the two biggest monotonous part of this build were the tracks that we got through on the last video or two back, and then all these shells. Looking forwards in the book, guys, I think we're done with the more monotonous stuff. We can get into some more, regular building. So I know this is not the most entertainment stuff, but it is part of the build, so I want to include it. So, all right, let me go ahead and get these cut out, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, here we go. Got them all cleaned up, cut out, cleaned up, and ready for assembly to go onto the back side of our ammo shells here. I do have a little bit of CA in this cup here, and this little bottle cap, I should say. I saved my bottle caps from my water bottles, and they're perfect for holding small amounts of paint, glue, and they're cheap. Don't mind my fingers, guys. I got paint and all different variety of colors. I don't like wearing gloves. I actually like to feel what I'm working with. It's just much easier for me. So let's try one of these here. See if we can land it perfectly the first time. Well, not perfect, but we had a second to play with it there. There we go, check it out. One down. Oh, we still got the decals we got to go yet too. We'll set that aside and let her dry. All right, our last step before we can go ahead and get these put into that hull and call that step complete. Guys, I've about had it with these shells. It's been going on way too long. It's like I just never see an end to it, and there's so many of them. And to be honest with you, I did not make every single one of them. I just didn't have it in me. I still got a few down here in this bucket you can see here. But I also got a huge pile of them over here. I know you can't see it off. Actually, let me throw up a picture really quick. So yeah, I have been pretty much seeing these things in my sleep. We'll go ahead, we'll put the decals on these things. I'm going to throw it in the hole. I'm going to call it complete. I think it's going to be limited visibility as far as what you're going to be able to see. I am going to be gluing my hole in the top part of the tank together. I'm not going to leave it loose where you can open it up and look inside. Mine's going to be a display piece, so it doesn't need to function. I don't care if the turret turns or not. Let's go ahead and get some decals going here. Let's do a couple together, and then I'm going to do the rest off of camera as we normally do. And then we're going to get that hole up here. We're going to put these in there, and we're going to call this one done. I'm telling you, I about had it with this step. It's just monotonous. Every single one of those shells has a seam line on both sides that has to be sanded down and cleaned up. Then you had to mask it to paint the tip. Then you got that PE that had to be glued onto the back. And you do that 50-something times, you know. It's just like, and I did split it up within a few days, but I figured, you know what, I got enough shells here. I'm not even going to worry about those other ones. In our little story, our little world, those shells already been fired, so these are the remaining shells that they have left on their tank. All right, let's see if we can make this happen without too many major problems. Alright guys, so here's my completed shells. I did not make every single one that was in the kit. It was just too much for me. I was getting so burnt out on working on these shells. There was so much to them. If you look on, here's one of the ones that's not painted. And let me get zoomed in on it, guys. Maybe that way we can see a little bit better. But there's a significant seam line on, hang on the shells. You can see it on each side here. Oops, I'm off camera. There's one on that side, and then there's another one back over here. So that required sanding. And then the masking and the priming and the painting, and it just went on forever, guys. So I chose not to do every single one of them. I have plenty of them here, enough to stock the inside of the hull. There might be a few empty spaces, but I'm not worried about that. I think once I put the tank together in the final, reveal, you won't be able to see a lot of these shells anyway, because they're all stacked amongst themselves. And if there is an empty one or two spot where the shell should be, those are just places where they took a shell out and already fired it, right? So anyways, guys, there we go. That is our shells, and I'm going to call this part finished. So all I got to do now is take these and stick them inside that hull, and then we will do a final reveal on that, and we're going to end this session here. So, all right, guys, let me go ahead and get the hull up here, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, there it is. Step 35 finally completed after several weeks of monotonous ass work. It is finally done. I went ahead and put the shells in off camera. You didn't miss anything. They just slip right into their holes there. I didn't glue mine, but you can glue them, but I don't plan on mine banging around, so I didn't want any glistening pieces of glue, where it might show. So I just got them sitting in the racks, and the racks are tight themselves. But yeah, my colors might not be exact, guys, but that's the colors that I chose. I was looking for reference photos, and everything I'm finding is like in black and white. And then if I'm looking at, this builds that other people have done of this, they all use different colors, I guess. So it just depends on what you feel, it's your build. You build it the way you want, right? So these are the colors that I chose for mine, and I think it came out nice. It's coming together, guys. I dreaded this step. It was no fun at all, and it almost got to the point where I was going to put this on a back bench and start another project and just take a break from it. But I know if I did that I would not come back to it. You know what I mean? So I just had to stick it out and continue with it. Otherwise, like I said, I probably would not have completed it. So I was on a Facebook page, a model builders page, and I met a guy, Chuck Harvey is his name, and he is building the exact same kit that I am. He's about a page or two ahead of me. But we've been sharing pictures back and forth and chatting, about this build and the issues that's arising for him and for myself. He does not have a YouTube channel yet, but I'm talking him into making one. I've seen some of his other builds of tanks and planes and stuff like that, and he's an awesome modeler, really, really good. And so hopefully we can get him in YouTube soon and into our community, and he can share a lot of his work with us. But yeah, so now I'm all finished up with this, guys. I've had enough of it, and I know that I'll put some pictures at the end, guys, because this hole's just too big for the camera. Is basically what it is. But yeah. And it's got some weight to it too. So anyways, guys, there we go. I'm going to end this video right here. Appreciate you guys following along and being patient with me. Like I said, this has been 2-3 weeks that I've been just working on these shells. And there were so many shells and so much to do for each shell that it felt like a job. It was like an assembly line job. You had seams on both sides of the shell that you had to sand down. Then it had to be primed. It had to be painted. Then the tips had to be masked. And you had to paint those. And you had the PE that you had to cut out and trim up, you know, the burrs off the PE to stick on the back of the ammo. And then you had your decals you had to put on. And when you're dealing with 60-something shells, that's a lot of work. And like I said, I got to the point where I almost set this on a bench, but I know through past experiences when I do that, I generally don't come back to it. You know what I mean? Not to say that I wouldn't somewhere down the road, but I would get into another project, and I need to get this thing finished. And that was really that and the tracks were the monotonous part of this build. Other than that, though, it's been a fun build, and I'm looking forward in the instruction booklet, and we're going to get into some regular building from here. All this, you know, monotonous stuff is done. We're going to actually start doing things here now. So we're going to be working our way up from here, guys. This is all done, the lower half of our King Tiger. We're going to start working on our turret and our basket, and yeah, so subscribe if you haven't done so yet, guys. We got plenty more to come. We got other kits that we are building. And yeah, follow me on this adventure, guys. I am building this live, not live, but I am building it. You're watching me build it. That way, in the event that you're building it and I make a mistake, you'll know not what to do, right? So I am not in any way a professional model builder. And this is probably the most advanced kit that I have ever done. And I'm going to run into some mistakes, you know. So, but like I said, we're doing this in real time. This is why, you know, we're going to, by the time this build's done, there's probably going to be 60 videos. But it's because we're doing it in real time together. So I just want to kind of explain that. So anyways, guys, everybody have a great week. And I will catch you again on the next video where we're going to start working our way up. All right, guys, take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.